Join me as to take a look at the biggest stories in the world of entertainment around the globe as we begin with a look at what's happened in a day around the world. So on a sad note, let's begin in the US. Saved by the Bell, that's very interesting series. We saw a remake of Saved by the Bell on Peacock in 2020. Yes, it was saddled with a lot of controversy. And we thought that, come 2021, we'll get a lot of good news and fun stuff, right? But the year is beginning with sad news for the cast and crew of Saved by the Bell, because one of its stars from the original series, Dustin, has died after a 3-week fight with carcinoma. He was 44 years old. Now, the actor's spokesman, Roger Pohl, said in a statement that Dustin did not suffer. He did not have to lie submerged in pain, and for that reason, they are very grateful. Now, Dustin Diamond, best known for playing Screech on the hit 90s sitcom, was hospitalized last month in Florida, and his team disclosed later that he had cancer. Well, like I said, Saved by the Bell, fun series. Maria Lopez has to be one of my favorite stars, as well as Dustin Diamond. It aired between 1989 and 1993, and then a sequel was launched on Peacock last fall featuring many of the original cast. But you see, Dustin Diamond had a very interesting life. On several occasions, he had various run-ins with the law, so he was not included in the reboot for Saved by the Bell. But the cast and crew still have come out to pour out their tributes to the star who's passed away.
I'm here with Dustin Diamond, the star of NBC's Saved by the Bell. And who are you playing Saved by the Bell?
Samuel Screech Powers, but I'm otherwise known as Screech.
Screech, right. What is the show about?
It's about a half an hour.
He's best remembered as the nerdy sidekick Screech on the 90s hit TV series Saved by the Bell.
Could you at least talk to him and see how he feels about this?
To some situation with regards to the Me Too movement. Now, this year, the Me Too movement is definitely kicking off just about right. Just yesterday, we spoke about how T.I. and Tiny were accused of sex trafficking. About 15 people came out, 15 females came out to share their ordeal after this lady who goes by the name Sabrina Patterson came out to basically say that, she was a victim as well. Now, while T.I. and Tiny have come out to debunk these claims, no one has come forward with a face. And a lot of times when we are dealing with situations of sexual assault or sex trafficking, the victims oftentimes, as much as the story is out there, there's hardly ever a face to go with it. So we find a lot of Jane Does. So, bringing up to today's conversation, speaking about Rachel Wood, she told her story a while back actually, but she never mentioned who her abuser was. Now she has finally come out to mention her abuser, who goes by the name Marilyn Manson, who is a rocker. And ever since she came out to explain her ordeal, how she was forced into submission, she was sexually assaulted, everyone has come out to support, Evan Rachel Wood, including Rose McGowan. You remember Rose McGowan from Harvey Weinstein's case. She was she was such a vocal force in, nailing Harvey Weinstein. Anyway, this rocker, Marilyn Manson, has now been dropped by his record label. This happened on Monday. That is the rocker. Evan Rachel Wood, she accused him, he happens to be her ex-fiance, of sexual and other physical abuse, alleging that she was manipulated into submission during their relationship. He literally forced her to be a certain type of way. Well, as for Manson's label, Loma Vista Recordings, they said that they do not want to be part of these disturbing allegations. It will cease to further promote his current album. They also want nothing to do with Marilyn Manson on any future projects. Now, if you know anything about Hollywood or the entertainment industry that we are in, internationally and locally, you do not want to be caught in the middle of such a scandal. Now, in 2018, Los Angeles County prosecutors declined to file charges against Marilyn Manson. Apparently, this is not the first time something like this has happened. There were allegations of assault, battery, sexual assault dating that went all the way back to 2011, but they refused to file any charges because of the statute of limitations at the time and the lack of corroboration of the stories that they had. So with Evan Rachel Wood coming out to actually put a face to her story, well, it looks like this might be going further than just, allegations. The accuser in that case was identified only as a social acquaintance of Manson's. So if there's no face, it's really, really hard to get justice. Well, then and now, Marilyn Manson still denies all of these situations. He denies that he's ever assaulted anyone, and he did this through his attorney. Okay, next. Now, rock icon Rod Stewart and his son have reached a plea deal to settle a misdemeanor battery charge stemming from an altercation with a security guard at a posh Florida hotel. What is it with all of these altercations? Is it like something in the air? First, we had Trey Songz getting into a fight at a game, and now Rod Stewart and his kid. Now, Stewart and a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they're best known for hits like Maggie May, Tonight's the Night, Now, the security guard goes by the name Jesse Dixon. He told the police then that the now 76-year-old Stewart and his family were at the check-in table for a private party, but they were not authorized to be there. Now, Dixon said the group became loud and then they began causing a scene, so he put his hand on the younger Stewart's chest and told him to, back up, make some space, be quiet. Then it happened. Sean Stewart, the rock star's 40-year-old son, got nose-to-nose with Dixon, and then this altercation happened. Now, they've been going back and forth in court on this situation, but finally, they've reached a plea agreement. So I guess that is good news for the rocker. And now moving on to some more big stories, Grammy-winning singer and songwriter Chris Christopherson has announced his retirement. Yes, after 5 decades. And he named a manager as well for his estate. Now, he did this in a press release that said the 84-year-old actor and singer just needed to take a break. In fact, he retired last year, and his son, John, stepped in to oversee, his father's business, including special projects, his record label, KK Records as well. Now, his estate will be managed by Morris Hingham Management, which also manages a couple of clients in Hollywood, Kenny Chesney, Barbara and Louis Madral, and the Roger Miller estate as well. 84 years old. Think, that's a very good age to just say, I need to breathe. So I think this is by far the biggest story in entertainment around the globe. Now, what happens when a rapper or a singer or someone who was so popular, they have one of these big songs, and then they just fade, like nobody knows where they are? That is exactly what happened to Silento. Remember the song that, Watch Me Whip, Watch Me Nay Nay, the whole song about whipping your hair? It had a whole dance as well. Silento was such a big star as a result of this hit song. And we were all hoping that, Silento will come back and give us another jam. Well, apparently not. Silento has been arrested, and he is being charged with murder in the shooting of his 34-year-old cousin. I know, it's like, what is going on? Now, the Cobb County Police said in a statement, the rapper, he's now 23 years old. His legal name is Ricky Hawk. He was arrested in the suburb of Atlanta. And, the police statement said he's in the county jail. He's charged with murder in connection with the death of his cousin, Frederick Rooks. Now, they didn't really go into so much details on the circumstances surrounding his death, why he is, a suspect in this, why he's been arrested in relation to, his brother's death. But as much as it's sad to say this, apart from the time that Silento put out this song, this is the only other big news that can compete with the level of fame that Silento got. Because, murder, that is intense, really. Anyway, let's talk about the fact that the Kingdom of Wakanda is staking out turf on the Disney Plus streaming platform. Yes, a TV series, not just any kind of TV series. It's going to be set in the Black Panther Kingdom. It's going to be developed as a 5-year exclusive television deal the Walt Disney Company actually came out to announce. And filmmaker Ryan Coogler, his Proximity Media company, they're going to be at the helm of this as well. Now, if you remember, Ryan Coogler wrote and directed 2018's Black Panther, which was such a box office hit. It turned Chadwick Boseman into, I mean, he was already a superstar, but even more of a superstar. He became a lot of kids' go-to superhero. Yes, my own superhero that I can relate to. Well, if you remember, Chadwick Boseman sadly passed away in August 2020. He died of cancer, but we're not sure how this Black Panther universe is going to play out, especially because we're still uncertain about what's going to happen to Black Panther in Black Panther 2. But no worries, Judita De Silva will be with us as we discuss film and TV to give us some more insight on this. But boy, don't we just miss Chadwick Boseman. Here's a tribute that came out when he passed. Honestly, it's hard to talk about Black Panther without remembering Chadwick Boseman's amazing legacy. Welcome back to Rise 360. I'm Kachi Ophia. Now it's time to turn our attention to the world of streaming, cinemas, movie stars, and more as we bring you up to date with what's been happening in film and television. And now joining me live from London to discuss the top stories in film and TV, stories everyone is talking about, is Arise correspondent Judita De Silva. Now, Judita, I feel like I've been waiting for this for a long time. I need you to give me some more insight to this. Now, the streaming service Apple TV Plus, they're saying that they had their most watched weekend ever, and Justin Timberlake helped. I mean, how? How is that possible?
Okay, so first of all, you have to realize that in the world of showbiz, we know that it's all about hyperbole and overselling things. Apple TV is only 15 months old, so it's not that such a stalwart of the streaming services. But what happened is, over this weekend, the film Palmer, starring Justin Timberlake, where he plays an ex-con former sports star who becomes the caretaker of a child that is gender non-conforming. So it touches all the trigger points for virtue signaling and speaking to the conversations of the day right now. And due to that, and also the second season of 2 series by M. Night Shyamalan that we all know gave us Sixth Sense, they saw a 33% bump in viewership over the weekend, which gave them their biggest viewership since they started 15 months ago, which is a great thing. Because what also happened this weekend is that there's a film called Coda. Coda is a anagram for child of deaf adults. It's a film about this daughter who has 2 deaf parents, and it was at the Sundance Film Festival, which is completely digital this year, and it broke records, being sold for $25 million, because the last record we heard of like that was back in 2016 when Nate Parker's Birth of a Nation was sold for $17 million. So Apple TV is showing that, okay, we're serious contenders now. All the money we're investing in great films is paying dividends when it comes to distribution, because we're making films that speak to the public's appetite.
This is really interesting. Now, Justin Timberlake has definitely been in the news a lot lately. He just had a baby with Jessica Biel. He had that amazing performance at the US inauguration as well, and now with this film as well. Do you think these things had anything in any way, shape, or form to do with the success of this? Do you think that it's brought in some type of interest apart from the subject matter of the film, which eventually turned out to be worth seeing, but the fact that Justin Timberlake has just been in the news a lot lately, do you think that helped this film in any way?
Absolutely, because what you have to realize is that that's why celebrities have teams. When they do a rollout, everything tends to come around the same time in waves, because you want to attack the viewer from all senses, because we're in an age where people are spoiled for choice in every way. So having him at the inauguration, showing his musical side, then having this film out showing his acting chops, and then showing him the personal side as a family man. Remember, he's always kept his children very private, but he decided to go public about his child being born. this is very well planned out because you're trying to show the 360 degree perspective of a superstar in show business. And that is all tethered together to give him a really powerful launch in a market that one would say is really oversaturated.
Now, Angelina Jolie has been quiet since the release of her last film, Maleficent 2, but is it true that she is getting, some type of remake, or, we know something big is going on. What's happening there?
Yeah, so as we've been talking, I'm telling you, we've got to give credit to Warner Brothers. They shut out every other streaming service from news headlines. So Angelina Jolie has this film, Those Who Wish to Be Dead. It's like a neo-Western set in the Montana wilderness during a wildfire. And it's going to, Warner Brothers has officially said that it will be getting a partnered release on HBO Max as well as theaters on May 14th. So it is rolling out its COVID-19 style releases. And to have someone as big as Angelina Jolie, who's been quiet for so long, is a big deal because everyone wants to know what she's been doing. And just like the point you made with Justin Timberlake, this comes on the back of her being on the cover of the latest issue of British Vogue, where she's invited people into her home, which she notoriously keeps very private. And again, what you're doing is showing people every side of you to ingratiate yourself to the viewer and make them interested in whatever you've got to sell.
Man, you see, the thing is, Angelina Jolie has, again, also been in the news a lot lately because, I don't know why she is going back to that relationship that she had with Brad Pitt and her kids, but do you think, again, that situation that just played out with Justin Timberlake, if Angelina Jolie can keep up this buzz around her, she can also capitalize on that to make this film even more successful than it possibly could be in a COVID-19 box office era?
Angelina Jolie is very shrewd about her brand. Everyone knows this. And the key is, remember that this film, which was written by Taylor Sheridan, he was an actor turned writer who was Oscar nominated for Hell or High Water and also Sicario. She works with great people, but this is a kind of almost indie style drama, and it's got Tyler Perry in it, it's got Nicholas Hoult. To compete against the blockbusters, because Warner Brothers is coming out with blockbusters, to get a drama film really getting people talking, first you've got a big name in Angelina Jolie, but she's got to do the work. Put yourself ahead of the market when it comes to news headlines, and everybody's head will turn, and that will translate into viewership, because as we always talk about, the streaming game is fierce. So you've got to get people to look at you over everyone else. And Angelina Jolie has a brand that we know historically intrigues people. So she just needs to play on that.
Absolutely fierce. Now, finally, Judita, this might be the best or the worst thing to happen to fans of The Matrix and Warner Brothers Studios as well. But is it true that the title of the new film has been leaked?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. So a makeup artist who worked on the film, Sheridan Terry, they wrapped production and everyone got a gift from the producers, Lana Wachowski. And so she was so impressed, so awestruck by the gift. She took to social media and took a picture. Little did she know she left in a title on the gift, which said Matrix Resurrections. So the avid Matrix fans, like all of us out there, went into overdrive. Like, that's the name of the film. It's got to be the name of the film. Because we've heard on the grapevine that two key characters who are already dead will be coming back to life in Matrix 4. So Matrix Resurrections sounds like the name that it probably is going to be. But we don't know how the Wachowskis are going to reel from this to put the cat back in the bag.
Judita, this is an expensive mistake, isn't it?
It is very expensive. I believe that she's probably lucky the film already wrapped, because if not, she probably would have been sacked.
Well, thank you so much for telling us why sometimes when you get a present, just do not take pictures, okay? Judita De Silva, thanks for telling us what's going on in the world of film and TV. And that is all from Judita De Silva in London, and almost all from us.